Let's face it, pandemic pounds are a thing. Thrown off all our usual routines, many Canadians feel they've gained weight due to the lockdowns, gyms being closed, or grazing in the home office/kitchen. But should you worry about it or leap into the latest diet trend? Let's ask. In London, Ontario, Noelle Martin, dietitian and co-founder and CEO of the nutrition clinic Nourished Beginnings. Hi.
Hello, Nam. How are you?
I'm great. I'm taking notes as I speak to you. Before we start our chat, I just wanted to look at some data, and you can help us understand these numbers a little bit. So let's take a look at some numbers on weight gain during the COVID era. This from the Dalhousie University study. Of the 10,000 surveyed for the report, 42% have gained unintentional weight. 75% of those gained less than 15 pounds. 16% lost weight. 51% said that they worry about the pandemic led them to eat more. And less than 10% have been able to manage meal times during the pandemic. That means meal planning, meal prep, buying groceries, etc. Over 50% of respondents stated that they find eating to be something they turn to when they are stressed and makes them feel better when they feel down. Noelle, I want to be one of those 16% who lost weight, but I am not. I am part of the group that did gain weight. When you look at those numbers, what do you see as a dietitian? What do those numbers tell you?
Well, to be honest with you, as a dietitian, I always want to ask more questions. I want to understand more. But when I look at these numbers, one of the big things that speaks to me is, wow, we are so affected by stress in our life, and the way that that then affects our habits with food. Right? So when stress comes in, perhaps we're eating more, perhaps we're eating less, perhaps we're so overwhelmed with everything that's been going on that we struggle to do things like just meal plan or meal prep that come quite naturally outside of a stressful time. And so when I hear these numbers and when I think about the actual individuals that these numbers apply to, it makes me want to ask more questions of, when you were feeling this way, how did food affect you during that time? Did it help to calm you? Did it add more stress in the end? And what can we do? How can we band together in order to say, hey, you know what? Food is something we turn to when we're feeling more stressed or more emotional. And we know hormones play a big difference in this too. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and it spiked during this time of the pandemic for so many. So how can we, instead of turning this just negative, how can we turn it to the positive and say, wow, we've had the opportunity to learn something about ourselves, and what can we do going forward as we sort of walk out of this pandemic into what we've said as a new normal? We hear this term all the time. What can we do going forward to be the healthiest that we can be? We don't need to live in regret. We don't need to live upset with ourselves. We want to live in a way where we say, okay, this happened, now what?
Well, we're exiting sweater weather, which means that I think a lot of people are going to be thinking about what their bodies look like. In the short term, maybe people will turn to dieting. But what are the long-term implications of this weight gain?
Well, one of the things that we know is that when we do have unintentional weight gain, there are other things that can happen within our body. So I don't really love to just look at the number on this scale. My goodness, we could have a weight gain with the extra water inside of us because we had an extra salty meal, right? And so when we look at the number on this scale, that's not everything. I like to look at true body health. So these individuals, perhaps they were underweight to begin with, and now they're up to more of a weight that still puts them in a healthy category. What do their blood sugars look like? What does cholesterol look like? What does blood pressure look like? And how are these individuals feeling mentally? Because mental health is a big deal. So there's a movement called HAZE. It's healthy at every size. So rather than visually looking at the size of someone or just looking at the numbers on the scale, I love to dig deeper and understand, are you physically and mentally healthy at this time? And if you're not, that's when we want to start to look at lifestyle behavior changes, but not fad diets. We want to look at the long term, not the short term. losing 10 pounds in a matter of a few weeks, I mean, that's not real weight loss that leads to true health mentally or physically. What we want to do is talk about, can we add more greens to your plate? Or if you love to have chips, could you have some cheese and apple with those chips, or some carrots and hummus with those chips? So instead of saying, you need to take all of this away so that you lose the weight quickly, I would more say, hey, it sounds like you're stressed. Can we talk about some ways that we can help you manage this stress, and also talk about ways that we could balance out your eating habits a little bit?
You've said unintentional weight, and I'm guessing that's weight that we've put on without meaning to, right? Is that what that means?
Correct.
Um,
That's exactly what it means.
there's a lot of things that we used to take for granted before the pandemic. I didn't realize that when I was commuting, that was my exercise for the day. But obviously that's been out of the equation for a lot of us. How much has the lack of scheduling and structure in the past 2 years contributed to this weight gain?
Oh, I think it's a really, really large contributor. It's a powerful contributor, really, because when we look at the things that we do as part of even just activities of daily living, as you've said, those are some of our steps, right? Sure, we may have times that we would go to a gym or be active in the home or outside of the home, but there's just these activities of daily living that we weren't required to do. And even just going to the grocery store is something that became a less frequent activity. The other thing is, we know we did have gym closures. And for some individuals, they love the idea of going to a place to be active. And so it was hard maybe to have the same level of motivation as they once did. And so I love that you brought that in, because it's not just the eating piece, it's the activity piece as well, and it's the routine. It's great to have spontaneity in life, but we do as humans thrive on some routine, and we know that habits connect. And so if someone was used to a certain rhythm or pattern in their day and that was taken away, that's very traumatic, and more traumatic than I think we even realized, because it happened so suddenly. And then it kept happening over and over again. We would say, oh, it's just for this little bit. Oh, it's happening again. And that's hard.
I like that you use the word traumatic, because it's kind of as if our bodies have been in shock, and it kind of ties back to that piece you were talking about, how we eat to comfort ourselves. But you mentioned, I wanted to go over some terms with you. You already mentioned HAES, but what is BMI?
That's a great question. So it refers to the idea of taking someone's weight and taking someone's height, and then we do a calculation and we come out with a number. And that number is just a quick and easy way to say, hey, is this individual within a range that we say, yeah, that's a healthy body weight, or are they a little under, or are they over, or are they a lot over? So underweight, what we call healthy or normal. I don't love the term, as you can tell. Mm-hmm. Overweight, obese, and then into classes. And it doesn't tell us anything about body composition.
Well, I was going to ask you, why don't you like the term?
Because we have Olympic athletes that would be in the overweight and obese category, and here they are at the Olympics, and perhaps some of our healthiest individuals. It doesn't tell us everything. It doesn't tell us about body mass. It doesn't tell us about waist circumference and hip circumference. It doesn't tell us about the way this individual is eating. And so we could call someone overweight or obese, but they actually might be a very healthy individual. We need to look at more factors than just BMI. And so I don't use it really in my practice. And I know most dietitians don't anymore, and we're encouraging physicians not to either. It can help us in terms of a red flag. Do we need to ask more questions? But it's not everything. And I don't love the idea of labeling an individual that way.
We've all been through so much. Is it okay to have been eating to keep our spirits up?
It's a great question. When we look at emotional eating, we know we need to leave some room for it. There's endorphins that go off in our brain when we consume something that we enjoy. It's a calming effect. It starts early on in infancy, as soon as a baby has breast milk or formula, and carries on throughout life. However, we also want to take a look at overall health. And so while we want to embrace the fact that there's certainly going to be some eating based on emotion or anxiety, I personally would always work with an individual to look beyond that and also make sure that we're not just using it as a band-aid, that we're also looking deeper into, if you're feeling anxious, what else can we do to help with that anxiety? If you are satisfying a craving, absolutely, it's part of intuitive eating. If you're craving those chips, have those chips. If you're craving a cookie, have that cookie. What else could you have with the chips or with the cookie that allow for you to also take in more nourishment to satisfy your hunger level too?
As a dietitian, you work with a lot of parents, you work with a lot of moms, and
Yes.
throughout this pandemic, we've had this running joke of how kids seem to want snacks every 5 seconds, especially when we were doing online learning. It was like, you already had a snack. How many snacks can I make you? And parents were everything, working from home, teaching their kids, trying to juggle everything. And obviously, a lot of things fell to the wayside. Maybe that was eating well, and then guilt comes, right? So how can we be supportive of parents who feel guilty that healthy eating habits were not so great these past few years?
Absolutely, we need to realize that we have come through a very abnormal period and we need to give ourselves a lot of grace. We know that guilt does nothing for us. The worse that we feel, the more we're likely to stick in that stressful, traumatic place and continue with the behaviors that we actually are maybe not wanting to see in our lives anymore. And so my encouragement is give yourself grace, realize what's done is done, and think about one small step that you could start to take. Perhaps it's that breakfast was, being skipped during this crazy time and you're going to start adding 10 minutes for breakfast into your day for the coming week and the coming 2 weeks. And then when that becomes a really established habit, maybe you're going to start adding a handful of spinach to your lunch each day. Just little things. And we build something called self-efficacy, which is basically we're going to do what we said we were going to do. If you say you're going to go for a 10-minute walk, you do it. And it helps you to believe that you can do it and you can fit this in. And then maybe you increase it to 20. Starting with small goals, following through on those goals is a wonderful way to kind of build our spirits back up, to build that confidence in ourselves back up. And I also encourage moms that if they feel like it's selfish, if they feel like they're taking time for themselves in order to, eat the meal or go for the walk, remember that as parents, as caregivers, as even just examples to other children in our life, even if they're not your own, it's a beautiful example of the importance of prioritizing our health and prioritizing following through on what we said we were going to do.
Noelle, thank you so much for your insights. It's been great speaking to you. And again, we made it through this period by taking it one day at a time. So getting back to healthy, let's take it one day at a time. Thanks so much.
I totally agree.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.